Hi, I'm Ginger, and welcome to my live stream. If you've never seen my live stream before, what I'm going to do today is tell some stuff that's going on in my life, and then tell about some current news stories and try to offer a different perspective on them. Okay, so today I'd like to start out by giving a shout out to my niece. Now, I'm not going to say her name because she's a private person, but I have to do this. I want to give a big shout out to my niece because hi, someone just joined. Hi, David. Okay, so I'm going to give a big shout out to my niece because she got accepted this week into law school for the fall of 2022. She worked very hard for it, and it's her dream, so a big shout out to my niece. Okay, now I'm going to tell a couple things going on in my life, and then I'm going to tell the news stories. Okay, this is something amazing. Not just like, oh, it's amazing. No, it's incredible that this actually happened to me. When I was a little girl, I lived in, right outside of Chicago, and I had a best friend. And we really loved each other. She was my best friend, you know. And then at 7 years old, my parents moved. And so at 7 years old, my parents moved. And we never saw each other again because we're so far apart. Oh, I know it's sad. But then the other day, she happened upon a YouTube video I did. And I don't use my real name, I use Gingy on my YouTube video, but she recognized me even though we hadn't seen each other since we were 7. And she contacted me, and she recently moved to Tennessee, and she only lives about 25 miles or so away from me, so we're going to get together. And I thought that was amazing that after all this time, I found my best friend from childhood again. So I think that's a really cool way to start this holiday season. David, I'm not going to bring anybody on live today. I had a request to come on live, but I'm going to try to in the future. Today, I'm going to talk about some sensitive subjects from the news, and I didn't want to argue with anyone. But I will bring people on in the future. Hi, Abe. So let's start with a light story. Dollar General has increased the prices from $1 to $1.25, which to me isn't a big deal. I don't see how they survived so long keeping it at $1 to begin with the increase of everything. So, yeah, I think they should have raised it to $1.25. Okay, so let's get into the really touchy subjects. And let's start, and I do keep a piece of paper or I forget, so I won't forget anything. And it's about Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh yeah, I said it's going to be a touchy subject. And it's touchy because people were divided up on social lines. It wasn't just looking at the case, they took sides based on the social issues that they believed in. And people get really emotionally charged talking about this. Okay, he was found not guilty of killing 2 men, he did kill them, but it was self-defense, I guess, and then shooting another man. Okay. Oh, hi, James. James just joined. So, he was found not guilty. Now, the verdict is the verdict, and I'm not going to comment on the verdict or which issue was right and which issue was wrong, because each person it was an actual protest that turned into a riot, and everybody there thought they was on the right side. Either side they was on, they thought they was on the right side, but instead I'm going to talk about whose fault it was that everything happened. And the answer is, to some extent, it was each person's fault that was there. And I'm going to explain why. First, you had the 3 men. The one that was shot and the 2 that were killed. And when they went there, they voluntarily went there knowing there was going to be violence. And not just to watch it, but they participated. They committed arson and vandalism. And at least one of them had a skateboard, which people that night were using as a weapon. I'm not saying he used it, but people were using it, and you can crush somebody's skull with the skateboard, or blind them, or even kill someone with a skateboard. It's not just a kid's toy. It could be used as a weapon. So people were doing that night. And when you go into a situation where you know it's going to be violence, and you're going to participate in the violence, then you are taking a risk that you're going to be injured or killed. And unfortunately, 2 of the men lost their lives. And no, I do not believe they should have died. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you take the risk. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse on the other side, he was 17 years old, and he took an assault rifle to guard a place, a business, and he shouldn't have been there. He made the decision to pick up a gun and go into violence. He made that decision. And anytime you pick up a gun to go in a situation like that, you have to know in the back of your mind that you may have to shoot somebody and you may have to kill them. And he made the conscious choice to do that. So in some respects, it's everyone's fault. Even the, it was a car ownership, even the guy who asked him to come and help guard it, it was his fault too, because he asked a 17-year-old boy to do a man's job. Now, I'm sure there's some people in the background saying, wait a second, they send 18-year-olds off to war. True, but they go through boot camp, and they're trained in discipline and to follow orders. And they do not make the decisions of where they go or what they do, because they need older people who has more experience to make those decisions. But Kyle went rogue. He made all the decisions himself, and he did it. And yeah, so they never should have asked him to do it, and he never should have went there. And that's my opinion. I had another request to be on live. In the future, I am going to bring people on live, just not today. I have a setup. I can't do it with my current setup, but I got a new setup to try. So I'm going to give it a try one day when I don't have to actually publish the thing, just in case it goes wrong and no one can hear me. So yes, I am going to give it a try and try to bring someone on probably this coming week, just not today. But thank you for asking, and come back next time and I'll try to bring you on. Okay, and hopefully it'll work. So if anybody has any opinions or any questions, be sure to type them in the comment section. But that's the way I see it. It was everybody's fault that participated. Now, let's go on to another case. Let's see. Turn my thing. The one in Georgia. Okay. There was 3 men are accused of killing Ahmed Arbury, and they were found guilty. And this case, I really believe they should have been found guilty, because they had a truck, and what happened was there's a construction site, and people were in a neighborhood was stealing stuff from it. So Ahmed, he went for a run, and he went through the construction site just as a lot of other people did, and they even caught him on camera, and he didn't mess with anything. Then he finished his jog, but these 3 men chased him down, and at the time there was a law where people can make a citizen's arrest in Georgia, but they fortunately have removed that law from the books. So they try to make a citizen's arrest. But this is the thing. He was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. And what they thought he stole from was a construction site with big boards and big tools and equipment. And there's no way he could have had any of that on his person. Just watching him running, he wasn't carrying anything. There wasn't stuff sticking out of his pockets. They profiled him, and just because he was going for a run, they chased him down, and they said he struggled with the gun or whatever, but they shouldn't have had the gun pointed at him to begin with. And even if they saw somebody stealing something, they should have taken a picture, called the police, maybe followed them in case they got in a car to get the tag number. That's as much as they should have done. Instead, they want to play this big vigilantes and stroke their egos and seem like they're big people, and they were found guilty. And in this case, I agree 100% that they should have been found guilty. And I'm not going to change my mind on that one. I mean, feel free if you have a different opinion to write it in the comment section, but that one I'm not going to ever change my mind on. Okay, let's see. Of course, recently they had an infrastructure bill that passed, and part of it is going towards electric cars. They really want to do away with gas and eventually have America, most of us have electric cars. And it sounds wonderful on the surface, and I'm not against it, but there's 2 concerns. Okay, I researched it, and they said it really won't do that much to take too much from our power grid. And I'm thinking, and it disrupt the power grid, but I'm thinking, yeah, but whenever they have a heat wave and people use too much air conditioners, then they have rolling blackouts in places, and they ask people, don't use any more electricity. Yeah, or if it's too, they have to use more heaters. Sometimes they have rolling blackouts, or ask people, cut down on your electric use. So they're saying that everyone in the United States charging the car isn't going to make a difference. Yeah, that's kind of doubtful. So then I thought of another thing. How about traveling? Okay, so I wrote this down. That depends on what car you get, it can go between 84 miles and 396 miles without being recharged. Now, if you're just driving around back and forth to work or grocery shopping, okay, fine. But let's say you want to go on a trip. and the trip was over 396 miles away. Well, it takes 8 hours to charge the car. Now, some people can stop before it runs all the way out and recharge it, and that takes 35 minutes for 100 additional miles. Well, imagine how you feel now standing in a gas line when there's a whole bunch of cars before you. Now, imagine if you're standing in a line and each person's going to take 35 minutes or more to charge their car. Yeah, they're going to have a whole lot of charging stations because people are going to get frustrated. And they might say, well, have just a regular car for your trips and that one to, drive around to work and stuff. Well, the average American can't afford to have an extra car. Seriously? I mean, rich people might be able to, but most Americans cannot. They can have the cars they need for work and travel and everything. They have to use the same cars. They can't have just an extra one just to go on trips. So, yeah, I can see some major problems, and hopefully they can work them out, but I wouldn't want to stand in line 35 minutes per person in front of me just to charge a car for an extra 100 miles. Yeah. Oh, my. So feel free anytime anyone has a question or comment to just write it in there. Okay, now this is one that's disturbing. This really is. In North Korea, a man smuggled in some copies of the Squid Game. It's a TV show. And 6 high school students was caught watching it. Well, they sentenced the man that smuggled in the copies to death. The teenager who bought the copy is sentenced to life in prison, and the other 5 teenagers are going to have to serve 5 years of hard labor. And the other students probably would have been executed, but the parents were rich and paid them off. That's a story coming out from North Korea, which is horrible. It makes me happy that I live in a free country where you don't die from watching a movie or TV series. It's really terrible. I feel so bad for them people, and I can understand why people want to escape from that country. That'd be horrid. But that's the one coming up. Does anyone have anything, questions or any news stories they'd like me to comment on? Just feel free to write them in. Okay. Now, well, some of you is going to see this live stream later in the week, but today is Thanksgiving. So if you see it today, happy Thanksgiving, if you celebrate Thanksgiving. And if not, then happy holidays, or whatever holiday you celebrate during this season. I'm going to put up my tree in a couple days, so that's what I celebrate. But I would go to any celebration if someone invited me, just for fun. As long as the celebration is fun, it'd be great. So I do have one thing, though. Does anyone else find it weird most people in the United States have at one point seen the Thanksgiving cartoon with Snoopy and the Peanuts. And at the very end of the show, Snoopy the dog and Woodstock the little bird eats turkey. And does anyone else find it strange that a bird is eating another bird? Almost like, seriously, it just doesn't sound right. Dogs don't supposed to eat turkey either, so I just thought that was a weird thing to do at the end. Oh my. Yeah, so birds eating birds. That's a weird way to celebrate Thanksgiving, but that's something I noticed on a cartoon. Oh my. So, anyways, I'm not going to stay long today because I have to put some rolls in the oven because I'm going to my brother's for Thanksgiving dinner. We don't eat till 5 o'clock, so we eat kind of late, and I had to wait till close to time to go to cook the rolls and get stuff ready to take over his house. So anyways, I will try sometime maybe next week to bring people on live. I might try to go live tomorrow morning when I'm out doing the Black Friday sales because I'm going to be standing in line. There's a store that actually gives away gift cards to the people standing in line, and it's going to probably be about 30 degrees, and my friend and I are going to stand in line and freeze. So I might see if I can get reception. I'm not sure if I can get reception there or not, so I might try to come on and say hi. Anyways, until next time, and thanks to everybody for joining. Peace out, peace in, peace all around. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.